Hello and welcome to Play Talk Repeat for this, our review of Switch Sports. So Switch Sports came out on Friday. What day was it?
29th.
29th. So it came out on Friday the 29th. We all played the beta. We all bought it at release. We've had a little bit of time to play the game. We played it. Well, you guys have played it extensively and all that. Managed to test out all the online features, which is obviously a lot of reviewers couldn't do at release because it wasn't turned on yet. But here we are. So let's start with some opening statements. Let's start with Alex. Give us the opening statements and a score, please.
Yep, so pretty much the games from the beta are pretty much exactly the same. They didn't really change. The new sports that we got to play were volleyball, football, and badminton. I'd say out of those three, volleyball was my favorite one, and badminton was a rally hitting simulator until someone fell. Football was pretty fun though. Um, Other than that, the game is very, very mediocre. It doesn't offer anything like that. I would rather play Wii Sports over Nintendo Switch Sports, which is very surprising. I would probably give it like a 4 or a 3, maybe,
No.
like in between those range.
Okay. Lewis.
Yeah, I'd give it a similar to Alex. I just didn't think the game offered much. It's a very, very lazy attempt at cashing in on like the Wii Sports name. It released with only 6 games, which you can get through in a matter of like 20 minutes. I get there at the end of the day, it's a party game. And some people have made the argument that if you think of it as a party game, then it makes sense. But even for a party game, I feel like it's lacking in content heavily. And I just feel like it's very lazy from Nintendo's end. So I'd honestly give it like a 3, probably.
Yeah.
It's just very poor.
Yeah, I'm feeling this. I've played it less than you guys, but that's simply because I didn't enjoy my time with the game that I did that we did play. Like Lewis said, he's very lazy. It seems like it's becoming a very common thread with Nintendo at the moment with these kind of things where like there's Mario sports games and stuff like that just coming out as late. Like it's lazy. There's not enough content. The online infrastructure is still broken. They've been told enough times by reviewers and by just the general public that the infrastructure is broken. It's not necessarily that it doesn't work. There's no lag or anything like that. It's just simple features that should be there. I'm going to give it a 2. I'm going to give it a 2 because might be a bit harsh. It's not a broken game, is it? Like it works. I'll get a 3.
It works. It's just lacking in features.
Yeah. I'll give it a 3. So the average score among us all is 3, which is really not good enough for a Nintendo first party title. It's not, especially one that they've been hyping up and things like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think if let's get down into the individual sports. So, like Alex was saying, so there's 6. There's bowling, there's shambara, which is kind of sword fighting. There's tennis, there's volleyball, there is football, and there is badminton. So let's probably start with. I'll say this is the best. Let's bring up the best first. So bowling. So there's a few different modes of bowling. There's like a battle royale mode where you do a few frames, then a certain amount of people get eliminated, and then you do a few more people get eliminated, and then you got your regular bowling mode, and then there's obstacle bowling. So what do we? I quite enjoy the bowling. I think it's got some issues, but what do you guys think?
I think it's fine. It seems to lack like the oomph that the Wii version had. Everything just doesn't feel as nice as it did on the Wii for some reason. I don't get how that happens coming from a game like this released like 17 years later or something. I feel like it should feel just as good, if not better, but it seems to just lack, I don't know, the passion behind it. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's bowling. At the end of the day, it's bowling. If you like the original Wii bowling, you'll like it. It works. And it works how you think it would. But it just feels less impressive than the Wii version did, which doesn't really make any sense.
It's so weird.
Also, there's only when you're playing online, you can only play the Battle Royale mode. You can't just play regular bowling. Or the obstacle bowling either.
Unless you are playing with friends. This
Unless
is
you're
a
playing with
weird
friends,
thing. You can't select a mode if you're playing with randomers, but you're playing with friends, you have to play. Can you play Battle Royale mode with friends?
No, you
No,
can't play
yeah.
the Power
See,
Round mode.
you can't play that. You have to play the other ones with friends. It's fucking stupid.
It doesn't make
Alex,
any sense.
bowling.
Yeah, bowling's fine. The only issue is they changed it so you have to keep holding the button, which doesn't make any sense because in the Wii one, you press B to let go of the ball.
Yeah.
It just makes sense. I didn't like the obstacle one because it just wasn't fair because people in the lower places would get less obstacles, which made no sense. So why would you play that over the normal bowling? Because people in first place are just going to have a bigger disadvantage to get less points.
Just you get punished.
Battle Royale is fun. It's just get as many strikes as you can. It'd be nice to play that with friends though.
It would be. It'd be great. Yes. Yeah. Bowling for me. It's all comes down to that ZR button and. It's not the fact that you can hold it so you don't have to let go of it. It's the fact that you get punished if you let go of it. You have to do the shot again. Whereas with the original Wii version, obviously you let go of it because that's the natural thing to do. You let go of the ball when you let it go down the thing.
Yeah.
What's a common theme is like these Joy-Cons. They don't suit a game like this. They're too small. They're too light. They haven't. It doesn't feel like you're holding something like substantial. Like the Wii remote originally was quite heavy. It kind of feels like you're holding a bowling ball. So you've got more control over it. Whereas with this little controller, it doesn't feel that way. So moving on to tennis. I don't think we've got much to say about tennis, to be honest with you. It's just tennis, isn't it?
I've got one major thing to say about tennis. Online with friends, you cannot play 2v2.
Oh yeah.
There are two people on either side of the court, but you have to control both of them, so you can only 1v1. Makes no sense. Why can't we play 2v2?
Yeah. That's an issue with a lot of the games. So, to explain it quickly, you can either play the online mode by yourself or with someone in your house locally, and you have access to all 6 game modes you can play. Well, no, you have access to 3 game modes, being volleyball, tennis. No, volleyball.
Football.
Badminton and no, not badminton. Bowling and football.
Volleyball, bowling, and football.
That's if you got more than 2 people.
Yeah, that's if you've got more than 2 people. With 2 people, you have access to tennis as well. But basically, when you play online, you can only play by yourself or play with a player locally. If you want to play with your actual friends online, you can only play against them 1v1. And if you have more than 2 people, you're limited to only 3 games. And in those games, you can't specifically choose who you want to play with. So you can't do you can't do 2v1s in certain situations. And in the football, for example, you have to have someone on the opposite team. You can't all play on the same team. So there's just these really weird limiting options that just make the game not fun to play online. Because if you basically got more than one friend, you can't really play with them. And even if you are playing with one person, you're going to be stuck to the 1v1 sports. Because stuff like tennis, for example, even though it is technically 1v1, you then have to control 2 players each, which just feels really off and really weird. And it feels like something that could easily be fixed, because I'd say it's the same thing, an issue they had with Mario Party, which is that you can play with friends, but there's no lobbying system to like search online for other people. You just have
I
to
was going to mention that.
you just have to play with people that you know, which is just really limiting for like no reason. It'd be an easy fix if you could just play with random people after partying up, but the game won't let you do that. So I don't know. And I'd say that'd be fine, but they advertised it with the online mode in mind.
Yeah.
And the ability to play online against people, and they've completely restricted that for like no reason. So if your argument is going to be, oh, it's a party game, then why did they put such a heavy focus on the online aspect of it then?
Yes.
Like it just doesn't make any sense to me. It's just really backwards.
Well, this is why a lot of people would have bought it. They wanted Wii Sports, but online. This is why a lot of people would have bought it. But yeah, so coming back to tennis, pretty much it controls exactly the same as it did in Wii Sports.
Yeah.
You can't like slice shots or anything like that. Or at least I couldn't tell that you could. If you could, it's not very noticeable.
Yeah.
There's only like two different kinds of shots that I could see, which was a lot. Like, so you got your normal shots, you got a lob, and you got a spike. But the lob and the spike are completely situational. From what I can tell, from what I've played of it, you can't choose to do those shots. You do a lob if you hit the ball too late, if you have to dive for it, and then the spike is just what just happens after that. Like when it goes over to the other person, they'll spike it downwards, and that's pretty much it. They've got the point. Not very. It's one that's perfectly serviceable. It's fine, but there's no necessarily any skill or anything like that involved. While we're on the net, sports badminton.
Badminton is just
really bad.
Yeah.
It's just tennis, but
It's
worse.
not. It's not finished.
No,
The game's not finished. Like me and Lewis were playing, and I go, "Oh, I just fell over," and he went, "No, you didn't."
Oh yeah, really decent.
Pretty sure I did. And
Um,
then we were noticing it like, "Oh, I tripped." No, you didn't. So it would just randomly like desync us and just like trying to get us to not do the rally because we'd be rallying for ages.
Yeah.
It's just not finished. It should have thingy.
Yeah.
It's like the bare minimum for a game, and I think if they were going to do only 6 sports, they should have differed them more. I don't think you should have had badminton and tennis when they pretty much played the same. And some people are probably going to argue that it wouldn't. Sorry, that they don't, but they do. All you do in badminton is swing the Joy-Con forward or to the side, and the character moves for you. But it's not like tennis where you maybe have to jump for it. It moves really quickly for you. Where the what's it called in badminton?
Shuttlecock.
Yeah, the shuttlecock. It moves exactly where the shuttlecock is going to go. So all you have to do is just keep the rhythm of just swinging forward when it's at the peak. And that's it. And you just do that until someone falls over, pretty much. Yeah. And then the game ends.
They should have allowed it so you could move yourself at least. Like that should have been part of it, or else like you say, it is just going like that over and over again.
Yeah.
Until
like
at one point, I was literally just doing this, just shaking the Joy-Con. I went, "Lewis, did you notice what I was doing?" And he just went, "I just saw your thing waggling."
Yeah. The worst part is in the loading screen for badminton, you can see your racket moving 1-to-1 with what you're doing, but then as soon as the game starts, it's just back to the original Wii controls of doing that. There's no 1-to-1 movement at all. It's just pre-programmed movement.
Bizarre.
Stupid. So football. So football it seems to be based off Rocket League almost to a certain degree, where you got a massive ball.
It's like Rocket League and Fall Guys football combined into one. That's the best way to describe it. And you just like it's hard to hit the ball as well because you're a massive car in Rocket League. You're only a little character in this.
Yeah.
So it's not really that good.
Yeah, to me, this one probably felt the best in terms of motion controls because you really could you could choose which direction you go into kicking. Like if you're facing the ball side on and go right, then it will go right towards the goal if that's what you're aiming for. But the vast majority of the game is just running. It's running to fact because you can only control one of the players on the pitch, and there's like 4 on each team, so you are just basically running for the ball. And if the ball goes past you, that's it. You're running. You've got a stamina meter as well, so if you run out of stamina, you are walking. I'm just watching the ball go in. It's Rocket League without the exciting part of the cars.
Yeah, I was gonna say it feels very fun the first time you play it, and then every time after that, it's just kind of boring.
Yeah.
Especially when you don't touch the ball, because it's a 3-minute game, but you can go that entire 3 minutes without touching the ball at all. Because there's a stamina system also, so if you run out of stamina, you can't run. So you're just sort of like watching the CPU just kick the ball back and forward. And it's just not that fun. And also the game is built, which some people would argue is fair, is built in a way where the moment the other team starts winning, it gives you the opportunity to then just bring it back. In the form of the golden ball that gives you 2 goals instead of 1. So the moment the opposing team gets 2 goals ahead, it drops in a golden ball to try and like even it up, which is completely fair. That's not like too outrageous, but it does kind of ruin the fun of the game a bit because it just sort of makes it.
It felt outrageous to me. It felt outrageous to me.
It's outrageous.
And we noticed that in another thing as well is the game caters to try and baby it a bit, like in the Battle Royale bowling. No, not the Battle Royale bowling, the obstacle bowling. We found out that if you're on the lower end of the leaderboard, it just doesn't even give the obstacles to those players at the bottom of the
Yeah.
leaderboard. So they're not even playing obstacle bowling at that point. They're just playing the regular game. And it's a bit dumb to me because if you're struggling anyway, you're probably not gonna be playing the obstacle bowling. I assume if you're playing the obstacle bowling, you want it to be difficult.
Yeah.
So completely removing that if you're at the bottom of the leaderboard just doesn't make any sense to me. And again, it's a party game made for kids, families.
Well, see, this is my argument, right? Because like, if that was the case, that's fine. Right? Market it on TV and all that kind of stuff, but don't announce it in a Nintendo Direct and hype it up, because it's not kids watching that. It's people our age. It's people like us watching it. It's us and games journalists and things like that. So just release it. Like, just release it as a kids game. Don't release it as a big first party release. I know the first party release calendar isn't chock a block or anything like that, so they need things to fill it out. But all it's going to get you is bad reviews.
I still can't believe it took 5 years for this to come out. This should have been a launch title.
It took 5 years, but also it's worrying for me, at least from the online aspect of this, because this is being done like this is first party Nintendo, and the online. Not that it only doesn't work, but like I said, it's just lacking in features. It makes me really worried for like Splatoon 3, which is something that's like heavily focused on the online. If it's lacking all the features, because in Splatoon 2, one of the big issues with partying is you had to do a bunch of bullshit with like the app, like the Nintendo app or whatever it is. And it shouldn't be like that in 2022. You should just be able to party up with your friends and play. And I'm really worried that Splatoon 3 is going to have a lot of the issues that this game has, in just that the partying system is not going to make any sense.
Yeah, in Splatoon 2, you couldn't guarantee that you're going to be on the same team as your friend.
No, it was a gamble. It was a gamble.
Yeah, ridiculous. It's not.
Well, hopefully, because they've added the invite system, which took them like 4 years to add. Maybe that's going to be implemented into Splatoon 3, but you never know. It's Nintendo. They'll probably make a stupid decision.
For all I know, they'll let you can invite your friends, but you can't actually play online against other people. You can only play against like another squad.
If they were going to get it right in anything, it'd be Splatoon 3.
You know,
you know what I mean? But so if they don't get it right in Splatoon 3, then it's never happening. It's never happening. And we're just going to accept that, I guess. Continue with sports. Volleyball.
My favorite sport of the pack. I think it was the most fun one. It was the most engaging. It for me, it offered the most to do, and it felt like I was in control and I could actually make mistakes and suffer because I'm playing poorly. Unlike tennis, for example, where I felt like half the time the motion controls just caused the ball to go off the court when I hit it. I don't know. It was the most fun for me. I enjoyed that one the most. If I've given props for one, it was for that one.
Yeah, no, I'll agree with you on that. I think it had enough, because you could actually move in some parts where you could block and stuff, which is what I would have wanted in like badminton, for example, just the ability to move, which is good. But yeah, it's fun to actually like play against people in that one. It would have been good if we had like a fourth person to play with, but Niall didn't get it because we were saying how bad it was. But yeah, it was fun when we did the 2v1, but that's like the only game that lets you do that.
Yeah,
stupid.
Yeah, I don't think I overly enjoyed it. Like I say, it's functionally better than the rest of them. The fact that you can move so you can block, but there's still some like scenarios in it where I feel you can block as much as you want and it's still going to get past the person, and then it's impossible to save the point kind of thing. It's fine. It's not the worst one. The worst one would be the last one, which is Shambara.
Shambara.
So Shambara is essentially sword fighting with like little pool noodle type things. You can have one sword, you can have two swords. Or what's the other one? Is it like a charge sword?
Charge
sword. Yeah, and it is, as far as I understand it, functionally broken.
It don't work. Pretty much online, if you choose two swords, you won't win because someone else will probably choose two swords. But if you want the best chance of winning, you just choose two swords because the motion controls just aren't good enough to justify what the game wants you to do. It wants you to have quick reactions to block the direction the opponent's sword swings are coming from, and you just can't react quick enough when someone's got two swords because they just shake both Joy-Cons and it just ends your entire life. So it becomes a battle of both players just spamming and shaking their Joy-Cons as hard as possible, and not actually focusing on blocking. and it's been a major thing in the community. Everyone complaining about that game, pretty much, just that it doesn't work. It's not balanced, and it just doesn't work. And it was also just my least favorite game from the batch. Anyway, I just don't find it very fun.
No, it's not really. I don't enjoy it at all. I didn't enjoy it in the beta. I think the first time I won one, I was like, "Oh, that's great," and then I realized that I was playing against computer players. So, like, yeah. No, so has anyone else got anything they want to say about an individual game?
No.
Not off the top of my head, no.
It does seem like we're being very, very negative about this, but I think it is important to get content out to stop people buying this kind of shit, because every game bought is an indication to Nintendo's like, oh yeah, this is good enough. You know, we don't need to develop our online systems. We don't need to stop putting out lazy games. They're just going to continue to do it. So like, yeah, unless you are like, it's only cheap. I think I paid £32 for it, so if you really want to obviously go out and get it, we're not going to tell you what to do. But if you are expecting something better than Wii Sports Resort, for example, or even the original Wii Sports, you're not going to get it.
Yeah, and if you're
I
expecting,
got one thing.
Oh, go on.
You know, like the battle pass thing that they've got, where you can earn points. You can only do that when you play globally. You cannot do it while playing with friends, which is ridiculous, because the main reason people buy this is to play with their friends, not against random people online. So even if it was the case of being like, oh, we didn't want people getting like as many points or whatever, reduce the amount of points you get. I don't want to be earning something online on my own. I'd rather be playing with friends.
Well, that's the thing I'll also say as well. If you intend to buy this game to play by yourself, as in like play offline, then it's not the game for you, because the game actively encourages you to play online to get these cosmetics. You can't get them if you play offline. It's literally not possible. So that's also a big factor. If you wanted to like play the game to get cosmetics and stuff, you will not get any cosmetics playing offline. You have to play online against other people. So
which is ridiculous. This isn't Rocket League. This isn't Halo. This is not a competitive fucking game. It's Switch Sports. You should be allowed to unlock stuff just by yourself.
Yeah,
absolute joke. But yeah, so I personally, I'm selling this game. I'm going down to the computer exchange on Tuesdays. I'm gonna probably put the credit towards like Tiny Tina's Wonderlands or something. Something worth playing.
I feel like I'm gonna sell it as well. Like, there's the random hope that they're gonna update the game and add like these online functionalities and maybe add more sports quicker than what they're estimating. Because at this rate, we're getting like one sport
in September.
Yeah. Which is a horrible update, right? So I'm honestly considering selling it as well. It's just a massive waste of money. And it's just the fact that Wii Sports Resort, I think, had like 13 sports, I think. Had 13,
it had
14 sports.
It had a lot.
This has 6. And 2 of them play the exact same.
Yeah.
2 of them play the exact same. One of them is boring. One of them is even more boring, which is Shambara. One, you're just running around.
Yeah.
Like,
bowling is fun.
I would have accepted everything. I would have accepted all these flaws and given it a better review just if it had all the games that Wii Sports Resort had, at least.
Yeah.
But it's just a huge downgrade. If you want to play Wii Sports, go play Wii Sports Resort or Wii Sports. Like, just go play either of them. You probably already own them.
Yeah.
Like, I wish I could send it straight back to Nintendo. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I wish I could get my money back directly from Nintendo so they know. The thing is, I'm going to take it to CEX. Nintendo won't know that I've sold it. I want them to know.
Yeah. And I assume, obviously, I might be just making false assumptions, but I assume the game's going to sell well.
Oh, yeah.
Probably.
It will do. It's a Switch game. It's a first-party Switch game. Of course it will.
But yeah, it is really... It just encourages these scummy practices, which these companies think it's okay to do because we keep buying these outrageous games for like when they're just not finished or they're lacking content. So it's a bit sad. And also this game's weird as well because you can't play it. I think, from what I remember, you can play it in... So obviously for Switch Lite people, you can play it. You can't play it with someone. You can't. So if you want to play with someone, you can't. It's literally impossible on the Switch Lite. Which you may think
how would you play this on the Switch Lite?
You just have it like docked against something and just play it with 2 Joy-Cons.
Well,
you'd have to have separate Joy-Cons, as well.
No, you have separate Joy-Cons, but you can't connect another pair of Joy-Cons and play with a friend.
Yeah, you can't. It's not possible. Obviously, it might be restricted because it'll be on a small screen anyway, but the argument is still there that like an entire group of people who own the Switch don't have access to half the features because you own the
Well,
version that can't be got.
you could argue they don't have argues to any of the features because the Switch Lite doesn't come with Joy-Cons out the
Well, that
bags.
actually, yeah, that as well. Yeah,
Yeah.
actually, that's true. Yeah,
Oh
so,
yeah, literally.
which
Yeah.
is weird because a lot of people own Switch Lites, so you just can't play this game unless you buy
Yeah.
accessories.
Did it say anything about it on the box?
No.
Nope, it's just got a picture on the back.
Yeah, it's just annoying. It is just Nintendo at the moment. For every Kirby, in the Forgotten Land, it's something like this as well. It's shovelware, but it's first party shovelware.
It's first party shovelware. That's the best way to describe it. Yeah.
It's so weird.
Like you'd be able to pick this game up back in the day on Wii for like a tenner in like a bargain bin, like 100%.
Yeah.
But now this is a full price title by Nintendo. So.
Yes. Well, I shall be selling it, but we shall leave it there. We're going to need to go wash out all the negativity now, because that was a spewing bio for 20
It
minutes.
was. It was.
Yeah.
But they deserve it. But currently up on the channel, where if it's not up, so the Guardians of the Galaxy review should be up. We've also got some tier videos coming out this month. We've got video game controllers and fast food restaurants, and we up at the end of the month on the 31st or the 30th. I'm not sure how many days we're in this month.
31st.
31st will be our video game book club review of Brutal Legend.
Yeah.
But until next time, we shall see you later.
Bye-bye.
Goodbye.